For a while we'd been trying to find a succinct way of saying what the college was about, and so I got in touch with Mark Gorman, who's amazing, and asked him if he could do some research to try and pull together a bit of a proposition for the college, and he came up with this idea of operating as one.
Operating as one is all about a collective vision, a collective belief, a collective mindset, and being part of a global community. And the inspiration really came from the people themselves. I always say when I work on projects like this, that the answer kind of lies within.
I've always found the college to be really welcoming. You're really made to feel part of a great community. And that's what really struck me about the college. It's so welcoming, it's so warm, and it gives a real sense of community. You feel a real value, especially whenever you're more junior, of belonging to such a sort of a family and a source of support.
When you enter the world of surgery, many of us enter because somebody inspired us. Somebody stood out to us who was probably older, more mature, and further on in their career. We've all got heroes and people who have influenced us and spoken into our lives.
It's been brilliant working with the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh because there was that level of ambition, and that's really refreshing for any kind of brand. It doesn't matter what kind of service it is that wants to create something that's just going to stand out. You don't get to work on that stuff as often as you would imagine these days in the creative industry. This idea obviously comes from the new line operating as one. And really the way that came about was the work that Mark did. How could we bring that to life in one visual? And there's a couple of different ways of doing that. But one of the ones was to kind of think, well, could we have an operation happening, but we don't just have the core surgeons doing the real thing, that actually when every operation, every single member, past and present, are all part of the one thing that's happening? How can we do this surprising reveal that somehow thousands of members, even all the way back through the hundreds of years, are all coming together for this one surgery that's happening?
Really, the power of this was in the storytelling and in the amazing job that Neil did to create that story.
Relatively simple script. Actually, when you start getting into the minutiae of it, it's quite difficult to deliver.
A project like this needs a much bigger team than I think we realised at the start of it. Particularly in the studio today, you see there's 40, 50 people here, so it's vast.
We are a charity, so we don't have lots of money to spend on big advertising campaigns, but the creative idea that Neil came up with was amazing, and I think that itself brought lots of people to the mix. Having Amanda there as the surgeon at the centre of it, helping lead us through what surgery actually looked like, was invaluable.
It's an awful lot that we take for granted. And especially from my point of view today, there was lots of little details that I just didn't realise. Hand positions, how to pass something the correct way to do it. We take that for granted, and I think something like this really shows the skill that goes into surgery itself.
The set yesterday was a lot of fun. I didn't really know what to expect. Very quickly, I realised what my role was. I was the one person who knew the rules of that environment.
And then we have the money shot, which is we're going to start from above the surgery, and we're going to pull up, and we're going to reveal that they're not operating alone. They're operating as tens of thousands and as one. There was so much discussion between me and the director of photography, Carlo, about how are we going to achieve this top-down shot. And we went round and round in circles, hours of discussion. When we got Where Giants Roam to come in and they agreed, it solved all the problems almost overnight for me. It's still quite tricky, but once we had them in place, it was like, we can do this. This is going to be great, and we're not going to compromise on it.
1, action!
I think today's been thrilling. I have a favourite painting called Three Oncologists, and being on set today kind of felt like, wow, we're living in Ken Curry's land.
Loved being on set, very happy on a film set. Neil and the team, and Stramash in particular, were all really brilliant at pulling it together.
Within theatre there is a certain etiquette. It comes together very much like an orchestra. I've never been on a film set before, but there was clearly a behaviour and an orchestra amongst the crew.
I was often told in my career, even as a creative, is always work with people that are better than you. And I think that's true. You can be good at something, but when you know other people around you, and it takes a lot of people to make something like this, surprisingly so. If everybody's good at their job, coming together will make something really special. And that's what working together is all about.
The goal of the film is really to inspire people, inspire existing members to engage with them more fully and to inspire them to take part in the college life. And for young people, it's about inspiring them to become a surgeon and to actually think about taking the exams that we have and to ultimately join the college.
It's kind of like an honour to work on something like this, to work on something as noble as surgery, and that's something that makes life better. For someone like myself that's maybe used to just creating adverts that sell things, to come in and be able to actually sell surgeons and their skills together, that's kind of special.
You know what, it's a small client in the scheme of things. You know, I've worked with big international, global clients even, but I think the contribution that they've made, it's just been a really fascinating piece of work to do, and it's been right up there amongst the best work I've ever done in my career, so I'm really pleased with it.
Okay, everyone happy?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That is a wrap. Thank you.